Hello and welcome to Yib.
Did you just have a stroke?
Hello and welcome to You Beauty, the podcast for your face. I'm Leigh Campbell.
I'm Kelly McCarren, also known as Rudolph.
Oh, why?
Oh, my nose.
Oh, well,
Spring.
you've covered it well. I know.
Spring, just my nose. I just get such bad allergies. My nose and my eyes just weep.
My girlfriend and I, we used to live together, and now obviously we don't, but literally we had a saying that was love spring, hate hay fever, and early September, we just text it back and forth.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah,
Like,
but I'll still take that
fluids.
over.
100%.
Yeah.
The sun. It's so nice.
Like little bunnies and flowers and freshness. Anyway, how are you? How's your week? How's your life?
Well, apart from being Rudolph and perpetually snotty, wonderful.
Oh, good-o. You
Been
sound
putting
like
the
an
nappy
old
rash
man.
cream on my snout again. It's been
does work.
a beauty bite / hack for the past.
zinc is very healing.
Oh, so healing. Looks ridiculous, but who
I
cares?
quite like it. I like the smell. I like the texture.
Anyway, let's get into our
Oh, okay, yes,
questions
very good,
for the day. So our first one is from Jessica. Hi, Leigh and Kelly, love the podcast. Quick question. It's a spicy sunscreen question. I
Don't
know
eat your sunscreen. We don't want spice.
No. Can I layer a tinted mineral sunscreen on top of a chemical sunscreen? I have a chemical sunscreen that I absolutely adore, but I am looking at incorporating a tinted SPF product for a more my skin but better look. I've read mixed opinions on layering the two types of sunscreens, and I thought you may be able to provide clarification. Thanks.
You're welcome, Jessica. We absolutely can. So just a caveat that due to the regulations in place by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, we can't recommend specific products. The TGA does a lot of good things, but please let us recommend specific sunscreens because we've tried them all and women find it hard to find a good one. Jessica, you absolutely can. This is actually perfect. You can layer them in this order. A quick reminder if you're confused about the different types of sunscreen. So mineral sunscreen is also called a physical sunscreen or also called an inorganic sunscreen. So if you see those terms, all the same thing, that essentially, and I'm really like giving you top line here, sits on the surface of the skin. Whereas a chemical sunscreen, another name for that is an organic sunscreen, they contain like little organic molecules and chemical bonds, and they absorb energy from the UV radiation. So it feels a bit more like skincare. So yes, you've said you've got a chemical.
Mineral sunscreens are the ones that were all over the news last month.
They were. And yeah, I mean, generally speaking, they're harder to get an elegant formula because they're creating a physical layer.
Yeah.
They're going to be thick and sticky.
Which is why when you do find a good one, you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Just hope it works. So yes, you can layer, and that is the perfect way to layer. So your chemical sunscreen first. So you put your chemical sunscreen on. That's absorbed into the skin to be effective. So you just put it on your like last step of your skincare. Wait, because that also, you know how they say wait 20 minutes? The jury's out on that, but that's
Get a little hand fan, speed it up.
yeah, but that's mostly for chemical sunscreens because they kind of go in and like sit down. They need a little minute to sit down. So then you
Find their seats.
yeah. So and I generally wait anyway. I've done my skincare, then I've done, let's say, for example, my chemical sunscreen. Then you want to add your tinted mineral. Wonderful. That is great. That is basically like adding an added bonus. So that kind of sits on the surface of the skin and reflects and deflects the UV rays.
It's like needing iron, so you eat a steak but then have a supplement just for funsies.
Sure. Except for don't do that. Go to your doctor and get tested for your iron first.
Yeah, I mean,
I
if
know.
Okay.
Yes. It's like packing an overcoat when you've already got a jacket on.
Oh,
I don't know.
A raincoat, if you will.
Yes. And so a tinted version is really good because that generally will have iron oxides in it, which is a form of sunscreen, like a SPF protection. Yeah. So you're combining the two. So if you let your chemical settle, ideally 10 to 15 minutes, do your hair, put your shoes on, I don't know. And then you're topping up with your mineral. But you can also layer two chemicals. I often do that. So you can do chemical sunscreen and then another chemical sunscreen. So I'll do like a chemical clear, nothing. And then I'll do a chemical tinted. Reason being is you will never wear enough tinted sunscreen, whether it's chemical or mineral, to get the full SPF protection. You just can't. You would look like you've got 16 layers of foundation on.
I have such a good example of that. The
Yes.
It Cosmetics SPF 50.
Yes.
It's so thick.
Years ago, Hannah English did that for Mamamia. We'll link it in the show notes.
Did she use the half teaspoon?
Yes, and it looked like she was dripping in foundation. You can never do that. But you can layer chemical and chemical. That's absolutely fine. Just keep in mind, say you've got an SPF 30 sunscreen and then you layer on an SPF 20. The numbers don't add up. It's not math. So you've got SPF 30 and SPF 50, for example. That's not SPF 80.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. Also, two chemicals might pill. I know the different ones that I can, or, a chemical and a physical might pill. So just learn what layers work together. Also, just if you want more or you want to find the right info on that stuff, Dr. Michelle Wong, we've had her on New Beauty, Lab Muffin Science. She is phenomenal. She's got a whole website. And if you do want more information that is factual and scientific and correct, head to Dr. Michelle Wong's website. So what I love firstly is she's a genius and she mythbusts most, like all skincare stuff, but mostly sunscreen. She also then does like a video version and a written version, depending on how you like to consume your content.
Oh my
She's a
gosh.
gift. But one thing that oftentimes when we're having this chemical versus mineral debate is people think that chemical sunscreens absorb the heat and will make your melasma worse. And that's really not true. So she says chemical sunscreens do not significantly cause melasma by heating the skin. Both chemical and physical sunscreens work by absorbing UV and converting it to heat. But the amount of heat generated is so small, it's undetectable. So just use what you like.
Yeah.
Whatever you like and use enough of it, reapply frequently. Sunscreen is only one form of sun protection. Hat, sunglasses, UPF, whatever, clothes, get out of the sun. Please.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you know what the biggest rule is? Your favorite sunscreen, we don't care what it is as long as you're using it.
Yeah. Like, for example, I did my skincare this morning. I did my sunscreen and then I think I did my hair and everything. And I was like, what foundation will I wear today? And I ended up wearing an SPF 50 tinted sunscreen, but just because I liked the finish as a foundation.
Exactly. You'd already actually put your SPF on.
I'm reaching for sunscreen. I was like, I like the way this sits on my
skin.
Yeah. All right. Question 2. Becky asked, hi, Kelly and Leigh, OF listener. OnlyFans? Do you think she means OG?
OG, I reckon.
First time question.
Leigh's actually got a secret toe channel.
I'm like, you are on the wrong place. Come over to my toe
God,
channel.
don't say it out loud.
That's a great idea. Oh my God. Side note, I saw a girl the other day. She partially chews food and puts it in a bag and posts it to people. She's making thousands of dollars. We're in the wrong job.
You could do something with your weird toes.
I'm going to. She says, Becca says, I'm a fellow lazy girl and I need your opinion. I have dark brown, wavy, fine hair and not heaps of it thanks to postpartum. And I'm a morning shower person. Firstly, I love this detail. This helps us so much. As much detail as you
sometimes we read a question, we're like, we need to know this.
Yeah. So thank you. You are a good girl, Becca. She says, I'm heading back to full-time work with 2 kids and I want to know, should I invest in nanoplasty or hair keratin or the wet to dry Dyson straightener? I usually just air dry or do a quick blow dry. Thoughts are much appreciated. Thanks, girls.
I would like you to look at my hair, Leigh, as a exhibit A of why.
Are you Becca but blonde?
Yes.
No, you're not. Your hair looks great today.
No. I look like a bin chicken. Look at the fried flyaways, which is why I'm like, I reckon the treatments over just a blow dry, because a blow dry, your hair's still going to look not great.
Every morning you're going to go, ugh, even if it's 3 minutes,
you won't
10
want
minutes.
to. If you've got the keratin or the nano, whatever it's called, I always think of like a nose job.
Me too. I think nanoplasty, like getting your nose done.
Yeah, but that's rhinoplasty. But anyway, I just think that do that one because then it's just worth the investment and then you literally can just let it air dry.
I agree.
It saves you time.
I could not agree more.
Oh.
Let me explain the difference between those two things. So Becca.
Because you've tried both of them, right?
I get a version of it. So, I mean, it's essentially all the same thing, but they like to market each other off each other to say one's word. It's like having gel or Biab. Like, it's just all shit on your nails. It's going to make them look good, but it will do some damage. So, firstly, I would definitely get the smoothing/straightening treatment because every morning you wake up, you will love yourself sick. Yes, it's an outlay of around, let's just say, roughly $500, but it will last as long as your hair grows. So your hair will grow out from your head. That part will be natural texture, but where they started at the root, that will continue to be the beautiful smooth texture.
Yes.
So I probably I need it. Mine's due, but ideally every 5 months. And
because your hair grows fast though.
So fast. And particularly where it's short, I can't really do the slick back when it's gross. But like when it's starting to get frizzy, because I've always had really straight, quite nice hair, but postpartum mine just went a totally different texture. Rude.
I've got lion's mane hair. It's not a nice texture.
It's like postpartum, I have less time and someone at my ankles and you're giving me worse hair.
Yeah.
Rude. So there's like, let's just say keratin and nanoplasty just to give you the two sort of categories. Keratin is aimed at straightening and smoothing frizz. They use keratin. They used to use formaldehyde. That's why Nanoplasty loves saying keratin's bad. You can get that really sort of smooth, glossy finish. It reduces frizz, adds shine and smoothness. Brands don't use formaldehyde anymore. They've got a replacement chemical. But you probably, if you wanted like dead pin straight, like straight, you'd go for keratin.
And that would be for someone that maybe has
Like
really
like curly or coily hair that wants straight.
that also is quite frizzy and then they want it straight. Because if you had like our hair,
it
would look awful.
Well,
It'd
you can
just-
also do different levels once you've
Oh,
chosen
okay.
your one. So nanoplasty is more about treatment and nourishing your hair while also straightening it. So they use what's called nanotechnology, hence the word, and amino acids. So you'll get like a naturally looking smoothness, but not ultra sleek.
Mhm.
Do whatever you want. I personally get Kerasilk. So it's keratin treatment from Kerasilk. Kerasilk's name is because they used to, this technology used to use real silk. Now they leave little wormies alone and they use a vegan version of silk. So when I go and get mine done, they say, do you want like, there's names for it, but let's say like light or heavy. And I've had both. And it's so that, like you say, you've got wavy hair, a nice wave. You probably just want no frizz, but still some texture and body.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where it looks like you've like
Helmeted.
Yes. And for me, they literally just blow dry your hair, put the solution on, straighten your hair and wash it out. I'm done in an hour. I can
Oh.
put my hair up. I don't have to wear it home for 3 days.
I need to try it.
Oh, it's life-changing, Kelly.
I know. I
Life-changing.
need to try it.
So these are all similar versions. Just research what your place does or what friends have done, or jump in the UBD Facebook group or your community group on Facebook, if you're in like your suburbs group. I love my suburbs group, and say, hey, I'm thinking of this. Has anyone got one, or has anyone got a salon? You will love yourself sick. Then, of course, you can still heat style if you want to, but I just then use an air dry balm most days. Like today I did an air dry balm, and then because we're a bit later than normal, I just did a few little tongs.
And it looks so pretty.
I mean, I wouldn't have that wave without the tong, but I wouldn't have any.
See, this is not air dried. This is Dyson.
Oh, you styled it.
And
No, it looks beautiful.
it doesn't. I look like a
Yeah.
bin chicken. It's awful.
I just think, a couple $100 or $500, $600 is a lot of money, but the cost per wear, the convenience and the time is money.
Yep.
I would do it. And look, if you don't love it or you think it was too expensive or whatever, you don't have to have it done
It's so funny how people have different priorities when it comes to their routines as well. It's like Kelly has got 6 different shades of pink on her eyelids.
Oh my God.
But her hair is unstyled.
And also for me, anything that gives me time back, I will pay anything, because time is life. Like, you can't buy time. Well, you can if you get keratin. Like, do you know what I mean? That's the only way to buy time.
Hacks.
Yeah, hacks. Hack City.
Speaking of.
What's your beauty bite?
Well, last week I had my little wise words that were
Loved it.
simplifying how we do skincare. Today I have a little bit of a reminder, and it's also coming off the back of our chat about sunscreen at the start of the ep. So, little reminder. Toxicity is in the dose.
Mm-hmm.
Water is toxic if you have too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why apps like, I see people using that stupid Yucca app, or they'll say it's got this in it, so it's a red because it's toxic. Yeah, it is.
Everything
if you swum in it.
Yeah. Like if you ate enough apple seeds, you'd die. Like
The-
the little things, the little seeds in the apple core.
The process that companies have to go through to be able to sell products on the shelves in Australia is so stringent. And I promise you no one's trying to kill you, because then you can't spend your money.
Yeah, so true.
So
I mean, when you
please
think
just
about it-
ignore all of the stupid, crunchy people,
Yeah.
the anti-vaxxers telling you that things are toxic.
Yeah.
Oh, I just know. Nothing is toxic in the amounts that you are ingesting it.
If you want a great account to follow, I love her. Her name is the Eco Well, and she just myth busts all of these things with science. It's not her opinion, it's the truth.
Which is what that just was.
Yeah, but exactly. And it's like, yes, everything is, the poison makes the dose. Like my mum's quite unwell, as you know, and the number one thing they've told her, she can only have like 600 mils of water a day. If she drinks too much water, she will die. Whereas before I went to the cardiologist with her, I was like, Mum, drink more water, be healthy. And they said, no, tea, soup, coffee, everything, all her fluids, she can only have 600 mils. And so it's like, well, there you go.
Wow.
And everything had to come from somewhere. So even if it's natural, it can be bad for you. And if it's a quote unquote chemical, it can be great for you.
Exactly. And that's the thing. A lot of natural essential oils and things that potentially grow in the ground.
Formulating a pregnancy beauty brand, there's so many essential oils you can't use on pregnant people.
And also, if you just put it pure on someone's skin, it would literally burn it.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
cut the crap. Toxicity is in the dose.
Yes.
You've got show and tell again.
I've always got show and
I've
tell.
got wise words. You've got show and tell. You bought a lunchbox.
It's my Systema lunch bag. It made me bit of a story. Reminder of who I used to be, and I'm going to be her again. So when Alexander was a baby and I was on mat leave, and then we were going to the beach because he was a winter baby, so he was like 6 months over Christmas, and it was just like, I'm out and about. I always carried a cooler bag for our sunscreens because your car gets incredibly hot and going to the beach gets incredibly hot.
Yes.
And obviously I'd have drinks and stuff, but I had a separate one just for our beauty. I mean, my beauty, he had some too.
That is the most Leigh Campbell thing in the entire world, that you had a
Leigh.
separate bag for your beauty products at the beach.
Well, in my car, it lived there because we were going like to a park or to the beach every single day. Like, you know how you've got the pram in the car or whatever.
Yeah.
You like, so I had like a little kit, but it had sunscreen in it and everything. And your car, like, this is a bit morbid, but you know what happens if you leave a person in a car? You cannot keep sunscreen in a car in a hot day. Throw it out. All of you. Imagine if you just left your makeup overnight.
Yuck.
Kelly's like, I do that. I mean, I've done it heaps of times. But anything
No, not in the
particularly-
middle of summer.
No, and
Yuck.
I guess more so your skincare, like your actives, you cannot use a vitamin C that's been in the sun in the
Imagine
car.
a perfume. Ugh.
Yes. So the reason I thought of this, I was scrolling the other day and I came across this Aussie brand. It's called Kool, Kool, and they have made Australia's first insulated beauty bag. So it's essentially something like this, but way more chic and looks heaps better. But it reminded me I used to do this. And I keep like a little car kit. I've got like a mist, a concealer, blah, blah, blah. If you keep them in there, you don't have to put an ice pack in it. Just shut it and it's insulated at the temperature pretty much you like
Shut it.
shut it out unless, you know, you leave your car in the desert for 65 years. But you can sometimes, if you want to put a little cooler thing in it, if you are going to the beach or whatever. You know those
Imagine then
you know
if you
the-
did put ice in it and you had like a
Your skincare.
mist.
You don't even
and
need to
then
do
putting-
ice.
oh.
You know those crunchy things you get at the pharmacy that you turn on the heat and you can get the cooling ones too?
Yeah.
You just chuck one of those in there. So check out, her name's
Great.
Kool, Kool, their brand, and they make much more stylish ones. But
Or-
this is my little kit that I've, well, it's probably a bit big, but I end up taking so much stuff into the car, 700 lip balms, and then I go, oops, yep, there's all my eyebrow pencils. So this just lives in my car now.
I
For
love
this
that.
Coming summer.
Great recommendation, really.
Otherwise,
Your
it's
hack.
all floating around in my
Oh,
console.
all right. Well, on that note,
I'm sad.
we'll be back in your ears and eyes on Friday.
Yes. If you want to ask us a question, you can do that. Our email, can I remember it after 7.5 years, is youbeauty@mamamia.com.au.
There you go.
I always want to say You Beauty Podcast. Hit us up on Instagram @YouBeautyPodcast. Jump in the Facebook community. Give Kelly a call on her mobile number, which is...
Ha 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 ha. I'd love that actually. But hello.
Hello. Oh, yes, I can help. See you soon.
Bye.